On today's Into Your Head number 722, how to mislead people with the truth, analysing Julius Caesar's audience management techniques, getting the most out of a dog's brain, brains versus teeth, and lots more. A lot to get on with today. Items that need to be attended to, issues that need to be addressed, topics. Oh, topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. We're positively moving to the seams with topics. We've got topics coming out of this oversized stapler gun. Although I've just realised now, looking at it, it's not an oversized stapler gun at all. It's quite a big stapler, but the rest of it is all just some sort of a stand that it's attached to for the purpose of putting up against the table or something. Or maybe now that I think about it, no. So if I were to not think about it, it would be yes. And when I do think about it, it's no. That would imply that I'm quite a negative person. Or else everything is no once you begin to think about it. Has that occurred to anyone? Once you begin to think about a black hole, before you think about it, you think, yes, there's a black hole, there's a thing there. But then you look into it further and you realise it's nothing. It's less than nothing. It's antimatter or something. And so it's a no. It's a no rather than a yes. And that's how binary. Am I recording at all? Hold on a minute. Oh, yeah, recording. That's fantastic. I nearly forgot to check whether I was recording. Absolutely. I'm so busy looking at... I've got a WordPad document open in front of me. It's not anything that's any of your business, but it's my business. It's my business. No business of yours. It's like that song go, there's no business that's your business that's in a WordPad document, because I'm too fucking lazy to dig out my Microsoft Office CD and serial number, so I use WordPad for this stuff, because it's nothing fancy. A bit of text, a few lines, a bit of bold, a bit of punctuation. You don't need fancy software for a bit of text typed into a document. No, the content is far more important than what you do with it. How you do it, as they say. It's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. The snow, and that's the other thing. Did I do the show business thing? Yes, I was about to go, there's no business like show business. Seems a bit irrelevant now, but it seemed relevant at the time. In fact, it was, when they were saying that this is none of your business. It was vaguely relevant then. There's no business like your business, like no business I know. I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking the original wasn't done on harmonica. Well, of course it wasn't. If it was, it would have had been. It wouldn't have been original, because this would, me repeating it here would make the whole thing not original. It would just be a derivative work. Mine was a derivative. This is a load of bollocks, isn't it? It's okay. It's just, we're just getting going here. We're just doing the opening segment. Doesn't need to have anything in it. It's just basically me saying hello. I might re-record it now and just say hello, and then it'll be 3.5 minutes shorter. Or maybe I'll do both. I'll do this, and then I'll do another one. That's what we'll do. We'll do another opening segment for comparison purposes now. I'll finish this one 3 minutes and 43 seconds now, and I'll start a new segment that's just hello, and we'll see which you prefer. Hang on a minute. I'll just stop this here.
The Into Your Head podcast will be right back after this. We're back with the Into Your Head podcast.
And now we start up again. I've started up again, and this is an alternative opening to this show. Just like you do with some movies, you can get an alternative ending. Here's an alternative opening that's just me going hello, instead of going on about show business and Word documents for 3.5 minutes. Just me saying hello. Here we go. Hello. Now, That wasn't. I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking less is more. Less is more. But the whole point of an opening segment is to get going. And if I just decide to say hello and then stop, then they don't get going at all. There's going to be no podcast at all if we do that. Unless I do the opening segment last and do the rest first. You could try that, I suppose. See, this is even worse. This is worse than the previous opening. There was more than hello. This is just me saying hello, and already it's 60 seconds of crap. Possibly because I had no self-control. I was supposed to just go hello and then stop and then get on with the show. That just doesn't sit well. That doesn't sit well with me. Sits about as well as a cat sitting on top of a dog's arse out in the snow. It's not even snowing. It doesn't have to be snowing for there to be snow. It could have snowed earlier. As it happens, it didn't. But it could have. It could have snowed earlier and there'd still be snow there now. And I could say it's not snowing and not give you any further information, and that would mislead you as to the situation. This place, the whole town could be covered in a blanket of snow, and I could just come on here and say it's not snowing at the moment, which would be the complete truth. It would be perfectly honest, but it would still be misleading you. See, you can mislead people with the truth, and remember that. Next time you hear someone telling you the truth, just remember they're misleading you by telling you the truth. It should be lies, and more. At least with lies you can say that's the lie. Don't believe any of that. Dig deeper and further down. Down deep. That's a song as well. I seem to be doing a lot of songs lately. Status Quo, if I remember rightly. Down, deeper and down. Down, deeper and down. Down. They're like a poor man's Queen, except it's just four old people with guitars. They're all with guitars. If you have a fellow with a guitar, he needs to be in a band that's got other people in it. You don't just put the 4 guitar people in one band together. Oh no, yeah. I don't know, you distribute them between 4 bands. You don't need 4 frigging guitar players. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's as bad as having 2 drummers. You get these. You used to get these bands anyway in the 670s that had 2 or 3 drummers, and they'd get a drum kit each, and they'd say, I'll bang this bit and you bang the other bit, or we'll both do the same bangs at the same time and it'll just be louder. And then they realise you could just have one drummer and just turn the volume up a bit or do layers. You can record the exact same thing twice, duplicate it, or double more than 1 track, or else you could just record it once and copy it and have 2 tracks. It's like having the same drummer twice, but you only have to pay him once. And then presumably there were union issues involved. Well, I'm assuming a lot there. They have unions for drummers. You probably do. Never heard of one, but the drummers seem to be doing fairly well. I know several. Now that you mention it, there's a drummer called Roger Taylor, and there's another Roger Taylor in another band. I don't know if he's the drummer, but he's definitely another Roger Taylor, so that's the duplicate. There's Roger Taylor in Queen, and then there's Roger Taylor in Duran Duran. Let's see what he does. What does Roger Taylor do in Duran Duran? Just check this now. Roger Taylor, Duran. What instrument does he play? Roger Taylor. He's a drummer too. So there's a duplicate there in the drummer. There's a Roger Taylor drummer in Duran Duran, and there's a Roger Taylor drummer in Queen. But they don't appear to be the same person, as far as I can see. No, they don't look like the same person at all. Although that could all be lies as well. Let's see. Duran's Roger Taylor trades the skins for the decks. Something as an extract there. Rod Wood is a painter. Lenny Kravitz is an interior designer. Ozzy is a philosopher. ... And Duran ... Now I'm probably supposed to click through there. That's just the summary from the Google result. But that's all you need in life, a summary. You can't get everything. Because if you were to look for decide to study history and someone said, here's the whole history of the world from start to finish, much. You'd need the whole history of the world from start to finish just to read the frigging thing. Unless, of course, if it's on an audio book and you play it at double speed, I suppose. But someone would have to have recorded that, and by the time they got through recording it, unless they were doing it in real time, which we know they weren't because there's so much history we don't know about. If people had been writing down history in real time, we wouldn't need archaeologists to go and fill in the blanks. No. I hope you're following me, are you? You're probably not. You're probably lost in your own thoughts there, barely paying attention to the podcast you're listening to, despite having wasted tons of your own bandwidth and home internet downloading it. You probably got 10 megs of internet at home, and you downloaded this before you got on the bus, and you're not even paying attention to it. You might as well just be listening to white noise, which you can probably get in an app without having and only download a few bytes of it, and it'll just play on the loop. But no, I decide I'm going to download some bespoke original stuff that I haven't heard before, and then I'm not even going to listen to it. I'm just going to play it like noise. And that's the young people today. You have to have input into your ears all the time, regardless of whether you listen to it or not. You have to have these things plugged into your ears. If you were to plug, I wonder what would happen if you were to get earplugs, like the wax ones that you can get at intoyourhead.com/earplugs. Absolutely fantastic. But if you got earplugs like that, that block out noise, and then you drill a hole through them, and then you put some sort of fancy Sony miniature, tiniest earphones in the world in through them, and then you listen to stuff in there blocked out. I suppose you can achieve the same thing with noise eliminating headphones without all the expense and the effort. I'm just trying to think laterally, because I use these all the time. They're fancy wax earplugs. You roll it up into a ball and you push it into your ear, and then sometimes if you do it wrong, it gets stuck there for a month. But apart from that, they're fine. Absolutely fucking. No, you drill a hole, not with a drill. Don't be putting drills into your ears unless you're a qualified dentist stroke ear surgeon. Do dentists do ear stuff as well? They probably do. I don't know, because when you get a drill, if you have your teeth switched off, like the way they do when they're going to perform dental surgery on you, they switch off that whole part of your head. I suppose they call it numbing it or something. They basically switch it off. They pull a switch using some sort of medicine, and they numb you, and then they start drilling into your jaw or your teeth or wherever they're doing the dentist. You can feel that vibrating in your ear. Then there must be some connection. So surely to Christ, if you're going to do dentistry, you do ear work as well. At least the cosmetic ear work. Maybe not stuff to do that affects your hearing, because that would be probably a different area of it. Because you have the same with feet, don't you? You have people, or maybe you don't. You have chiropodists, and you'd have one fella who's a doctor who helps you with problems with walking and general health problems with your feet, and then you'd have someone else who does manicures, and they'd be considered two completely different areas. So presumably it's possible that there's two different completely different areas in terms of your ears as well, because you have to have specialists for everything nowadays. You can't be going in the old days, in the 1800s, you go to the barber and you'd say, can I have a shave, and can you do some minor surgery on me, and then can you murder me, and then push me into your cellar because you're Sweeney Todd, as depicted in the musicals and as depicted by your man out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in that movie a few years ago with Dame What's-Her-Face. It's absolutely fantastic. People love murders. They love it. They absolutely fucking love it. As long as it's not themselves that's getting murdered, even that, they're fine with that. If you're in a computer game and your character gets murdered, which is essentially you, it's your avatar, and you get murdered, you love that, don't you? You fucking love being murdered as long as it's not real. You love stories about real murder as long as it's not you that got murdered. If you looked on the Crime and Investigation Network one day and they had a documentary on about your murder, I can tell you wouldn't like that. Unless I suppose it was about your future murder 300 years from now and had a happy ending in that you learned, oh, you grew to be the oldest person ever alive, and then 300, you say, well, we still wouldn't enjoy if they said, you're going to live to 330 and then you're going to be murdered in the following scenario, and they give you a documentary, but you wouldn't like that because they repeat those things a lot. You'd be seeing it even if you're at peace with the idea of being murdered when you get to 330 years old. You wouldn't want it to be rerun every fucking 2 weeks on 2 different channels, and you see it every time you look down the TV channels looking for a listing, you see another showing of the thing about how you're going to be murdered. No, that would get a bit much after a while. It'll probably get a bit stressful, or else you get acclimatized to it so much that you'd be not really caring, and then you just give up on life and you'd waste the next 300 years of your life. You just decide, fuck this, nothing really matters anymore. You just become numb to everything. You say, I could probably go to the dentist now and tell him, you don't need to put anything in to numb me, I'm already numb. And Dr. Dentist, if he's any sense, would say, maybe you should go to the head doctor first and check that up. He'll give you some pills or something. Go to the shrink, and he'll shrink the bad parts of your mind, and then I don't know, I'll do something with your teeth then. But let's start with the important bit, your brain. Your brain is more important than your teeth, they'll say. You'll probably try and have an argument with him, and the dentist, if he's any sense, will say, this is not debatable. I'm not having a debate with a psychopath about which is more important, their brain or their teeth. No. For one thing, I'm biased towards the teeth. Even I, who am biased towards the teeth, would argue that your brain is more important, and that should tell you all you need to know. Anyway, that's dentists and murderers for you. On with the show. Now, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, there's dentists and murderers for you. Is that what he just said? And now you're thinking, I need to think this through. That sounded like it was something significant that I need to think through in my brain and figure out what it means. Maybe if I paid more attention during the last 12 minutes and 19 seconds that he spent talking about it, I'd have more of a clue about what he said. Well, the solution to that is to rewind. I don't mean unwind. There's such a thing. Don't unwind, rewind. In fact, do the opposite of unwinding. Wind up, have a coffee, get yourself alert and ready to listen this time, and then rewind. Rewind and don't unwind. It's like that movie. What's that movie? Be Kind, Rewind. Well, yes, be kind, rewind, but don't unwind, because there's such a thing as being too relaxed. There's a time and a place for relaxing, and this isn't the time or the place. This is the time or place for learning and taking something in. Even if you're not here to learn, you're here to be entertained. You're not going to get anything out of it by just blindly not listening to the audio and just ignoring it. No. If you put on the television and you say, I'm going to watch some comedy, situation comedy to unwind, but you just sit there staring at the screen and not taking in the words, that's not even going to entertain you at all. You're wasting your time. You're going to spend 2 hours watching sitcoms, and then you'll get up to go to bed and you'll think, I don't feel very relaxed at all. I thought I sat down to watch the television to take in some entertainment that would relax me. Well, for one thing, there's a difference between entertained and being relaxed. If you've ever watched a video of Gladiator, the movie, not the real Gladiator. The real Gladiator is a historic thing. You can't just go back and watch history until time travel is invented. Well, you can watch the movie. The fictional movie was the first DVD I ever owned. The Gladiator, the movie. I think it was just called Gladiator. Well, there's a bit in that where Julius Caesar does something or other. He does something. He presents some violent entertainment to the ignorant masses masses, just like what I'm doing now. No offence, but no, and you're not exactly masses. There's a few hundred of you perhaps, or maybe 1,000 or two, or maybe 3 million, probably not, although there are over 3 million people in this country, and this is an Irish podcast, so I suppose in theory there could be 3 million, or in theory there could be 7 billion, unless of course you deduct the people who don't listen to this, and of course by flagging all this as by flagging all this in iTunes as adult content, that probably that means that's 2 billion kids now who can't get this because it's blocked on their iPods. But apart from that, no, let's say there's a few hundred of you listening to this. Anyway, let's see, Julius Caesar, he says to the masses, he says, are you not entertained? And then they get confused. They say, wait, are we not entertained? Is that like a double negative? If it was a double negative, it would be, are you not entertained? So no, it can't be a double negative. Well, it still doesn't sound right. All you can hear is the sound of the audience thinking, their brains, their medieval brains cranking away. They're not used to having to think. They're just used to watching a line or a zephyr or something tearing a man's flesh apart. And he's asking him to think. He says, are you not entertained? So he might as well have asked him, why are we here? Where did we come from? How did the universe get created? What was there before the universe? Was there nothing? And if so, how did the nothing get there? And what was there before it? No. You have to target stuff to your audience. I can tell you, he certainly didn't when you... but that's, of course, that was the fictional Julius Caesar, not the real one. We don't know what the real one said at all. Maybe the real Julius Caesar didn't exist at all. Has that occurred to you? Did the real Julius Caesar ever exist at all? Or is he a figment of our imaginations? In which case, he's not real. In which case, maybe we're thinking about another Julius Caesar who was real. If there is a real Julius Caesar, he has to have existed at some point. So if you're thinking about a real Julius Caesar who never existed, then that's the wrong one. Or maybe there's more than one. Just like with the Roger Taylor thing that I discussed either in a later segment or an earlier one. I'm not sure which, because this is an insert. Anyway.
Into your head. Remember, we value the opinions of you, the humble and ignorant listener. Email studio@intoyourhead.com.
studio@intoyourhead.com.
Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats and stuff.
Are you a cat? Or do you know somebody who might be? Then tell yourself about Matchstick Cats, Neil's webcomic. Brand new episodes at intoyourhead.com.
Intoyourhead.com.
Two dogs walk into a bar. One of the dogs goes straight up to the bar counter and says, hello, can I have a pint of your finest dog beer, please? And the man behind the bar says, what in the name of Christ is dog beer? And the dog says, I don't know. I thought you might know. You're a barman. You've been working here for many years. You're supposedly the expert in this stuff. And the man behind the bar says, Indeed I am. And you would think therefore that I would know what dog beer was if there was such a thing. So I think a reasonable assumption to derive from that would be that there's no such thing as dog beer. I know there's dog milk. Could that be what you're thinking of? And the dog says, oh, maybe it is. Have a pint of your finest dog milk, please. And the man behind the bar says, we don't sell our finest dog milk. We keep it for our dog. Ho, 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 ho. And the dog says, oh, that's hilarious. Have a pint of your second best dog milk, please, then. And the man behind the bar says, oh, I'm not going to start rating my pet dogs in order of preference. That's no way. You don't treat pets like that, no more than you would your children. You wouldn't come along to your children and say, you're my best child, you're my second best child. You would not. At least not in front of them. Maybe you'd come in here to the bar without them and talk about them behind your back when you're a bit drunk. But no, you wouldn't say that to them. And the dog says, well, we're in a bar now, and once we get going, we'll all be a bit drunk. Well, except maybe you, because you're at work. But no, we're perfectly... Anyway, we don't have any children. We're dogs. Dogs don't have children. They have offspring. But they don't... You don't keep them. They cast them out. They get taken away from them as soon as they're finished. As soon as they're ready to go, they get taken away and sent off to some dog distribution centre. But I don't know. Put in some... basically, the people... Dogs give away their kids. That's what I'm trying to say. I find it very difficult to say because I'm a dog. I can't talk. Can you talk, Mr. Barman? And the barman says, well, if I answer that... with anything other than yes, then what are you going to think? And the dog says, I don't know, depends on what you say. And the barman says, fair enough, I just did. And the dog says, oh, very clever indeed. Well, clever. Anything's going to sound clever to me, a dog. Anything will impress me. You could just say, bark pamphlet or something, and I'd be impressed by that. There's a fellow on Twitter called Bark Pamphlet now that I think about it. I can't remember what he does or who he is or what he is. Some kind of a person, not a dog like me, a person. No, not that I believe in discriminating and bollocks, wank arse wank. And the man behind the bar says, I don't understand that last bit where you said wank arse wank. And the dog says, neither do I. It's as if I ran out of steam and lost confidence in the whole thing, in this whole, what shall we call it, conversation stroke podcast segment. I suddenly decided this is going nowhere and it's not up to standard. I don't know why those thoughts popped into my head. I've barely enough room in my head to frigging order a pint of dog milk off you. And the barman says, well, regardless of whether you have enough capacity to order a pint of dog milk off me, it's not going to matter either way, because I don't sell dog milk or give it away for free. If I had it, I'd happily give you a pint of it for free. I'm not going to start charging for dog milk unless it becomes like cow's milk, I suppose, and everyone's buying it. Then I suppose you can't justify just giving it all away for free when you could be making a whole living out of it. But no, if cow's milk was something that only one or two people in the world were into, and they were mostly cows, and then every now and then a cow came in here and said, do you have any cow milk? I'd happily give it to them for free. Just as I remember when I was a child, I used to go down to the sweet shop, and he had one of them old-fashioned big jars of sweets, and when it was empty, he'd say, here, do you want this? It's the dust from the bottom of the sweet jar, basically bits of sugar and ground up crap. And I'd say, oh, thank you very much, something for nothing. Although when I grew up, I realised it wasn't for nothing, it was for my loyalty to the local sweet shop, which is now gone. It's now gone. Well, the building's still there. It's been turned into something else. It's been turned into a residential thing. You couldn't, in those days, you couldn't live in a sweet shop, so the fella lived somewhere else. He lived in another part of town, and then he sold the sweet shop, and someone else tried to make a go of it and failed, and then they turned it into a residential building. So somebody resides there now, presumably. It's reasonable to assume that somebody resides there. And the dog says, that's all very interesting indeed, but my little brain ran out of capacity about 3 minutes ago, so I'm still listening to every word, but it's going in one end and out the other, and none of it is staying in. It's like if you put a mug under the tap and it fills up with water, and then it continues to fill up with water, but there's water overflowing out of the edges of it as well, so it's not really staying in. So it kind of looks like I'm listening, and I am. I'm just not retaining any of it. And the man behind the bar says, that's fine. Just like to have an ear every now and then to listen to me. Even a dog ear is fine. In fact, now that you mention it, a dog ear is a lot better, especially if it's one of those big floppy dog ears. I don't know why they call the ones on the books dog ears. They don't look like dog ears at all. I don't know of any proper self-respecting dog who would have an ear that looks like a bent out of shape little corner of a book page. Oh no, it'd keep them themselves cleaner than that, for one thing. And for another thing, unless it's a brand new page, it's still white and it's already dog-eared, in which case I'd wonder how it got like that. Someone did it on purpose, clearly. For at least with an old book where the pages are gone yellow and dirty, you know that any dog-earing that happened to that was just normal wear and tear from the book being used for its normal purposes. But if you see a new one that's brand new, fresh white pages and clean, and it's already got dog ears, then someone's being vandalising that, or else they've handed it to a child who doesn't know what to do with it. That's why we don't give books to children where I come from, not until they've been trained how to use them properly. You give them an iPad instead and they can practice reading on that. Just like in the old days, you give them a toy radio where you'd wind it up and it would just play a pre-recorded song. Until they get used to that, you wouldn't let them have access to the real public airwaves, which are a limited national resource. No. Anyway, and the dog says, that's fascinating. Absolutely. Well, it seemed fascinating while it was passing through my ears. I don't know where you started now, though, so I don't know where what. I can't really add up the subtotal of it all in my mind, but I listened to every sentence as I went along, and as I processed it, it was fascinating. But as I say, my cup overflows because the tap is still running, metaphorically. It's amazing that I remember saying that. I don't really, it's just something that I say a lot. It's an original thought that I have every few minutes, so it sounds like I've remembered it from last time, but it's not. I don't remember ever having that thought before. It just sounds like something I think of a lot. And the man behind the bar says, for a dog with limited brain capacity, you seem to get along quite well. You come up with these profound thoughts. And the dog says, do I? Would you mind writing some of them down? Just little shorthand notes through the course of the evening. Might be able to make something of it. And the man behind the bar says, I'm sorry, I'm not a secretary. I'm a barman. I'll happily sell you beer, though. Just not dog beer or dog milk. For reasons explained earlier, which you've no doubt forgotten, but maybe some other day when I'm feeling repetitive, I'll repeat them for you, just not now. And the dog says, that sounds very interesting. I wish I'd remembered all that. And the man behind the bar says, indeed. And the dog says, why did you just say indeed 4 times? And the man behind the bar says, he actually said it 8 or 9 times. And the dog says, I only remember you saying it twice. And the man behind the bar says, do you remember it at all now? And the dog says, do I remember what at all now? And the man behind the bar says, now being a minute ago. And the dog says, how would I remember now if it's a minute ago? It's not now. Don't be fucking ridiculous. You're trying to confuse me. And the man behind the bar says, trying or succeeding or both. And the dog says, very clever. And a great night is had by all.
You've been listening to Neil tell you stories about cats, probably. Neil talks a lot about cats. Send your topic suggestions to studio@intoyourhead.com.
Into your head.